Panafeco, the African perspective.
Your Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso and Head of State. Your Excellency Colonel Assimi Goita, President of the Transition, Head of State of the Republic of Mali. Mr. Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, members of the delegations from Burkina Faso and Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland and the Government. Mr. Governor of the region of Niamey. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, heads of diplomatic missions and representatives of international organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to warmly welcome you to your home in the Sahelian land of Niger. The event that brings us together is solemn and historic, as it marks an important step in consolidating the ancient geographical and cultural ties that unite our peoples. The summit, which is the focus of our gathering today, is the culmination of our determined common will to reclaim our national sovereignty and restore our legendary dignity. It follows the adoption on the 16th of September 2023 of the Liptako-Gurma Charter establishing the Alliance of Sahel States. Ladies and gentlemen, the formal approval of the treaty creating the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States, A.S.S., will thus mark the realization of our population's aspirations to forge on the foundation of our Sahel region. A union of states sharing the same challenges and the same ambitions. In a word, the same destiny. Indeed, the formation of the Alliance of Sahel States has already enabled the establishment of a solid coalition around Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, based on a common defense architecture and a pooling of resources fueled by a deep solidarity. similar to that shown by the authorities and peoples of Burkina Faso and Mali in the face of the armed aggression projected by ECOWAS against Niger. The creation of this front has deterred the destabilization attempts of our country, and I wish to reiterate my deep gratitude to my brothers Ibrahim Traoré and Assimi Goita for this clear demonstration of active solidarity. My country pays you a vibrant tribute for this stance. Today, this front constitutes the wall against which any aggression project aimed at the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States will collide. In this regard, I am pleased to note that the defense and security aspect of the Alliance of Sahel States is already making significant progress with the establishment of the Sahel States Joint Force. Moreover, on the operational front, our armies are conducting successful joint operations in the Liptako-Gourma region. Presidents Goita and Traoré, the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States will thus be built on a foundation that ensures the protection of populations against any threat of terrorist aggression, rebellion, armed banditry, or any hostile act from outside. I am convinced that in the current geopolitical context, the Alliance of Sahel States is the only efficient sub-regional grouping in the fight against terrorism, as ECOWAS has shown a lack of involvement in this fight. Thus, the Alliance of Sahel States alone allows us to face terrorist threats like no other regional or international structure has done before. Dear fellow heads of state, while consolidating this strategic axis, it is necessary in the current geopolitical context to coordinate our diplomatic actions, both bilaterally and within multilateral organizations, and to harmonize our foreign policies to best protect the interests of our Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States on the international stage. Significant diplomatic successes are already being recorded, as evidenced by the strong return of our states to the international scene, the resumption of cooperation with partners, as well as the conclusion of new strategic partnerships. Concerning the question of development, it is urgent to create the conditions for genuine food security in the countries of the Alliance, and to establish the necessary economic, financial, and monetary mechanisms for the financing of development and productive investment in the space of the Alliance states. The economic fate of our states also lies in industrialization with a view to the local transformation of our products and natural resources. Likewise, the strength of our Confederation depends on our ability to build interconnection infrastructures such as roads, airlines, rail networks, as well as structuring projects in the agriculture, extractive industries, and energy sectors. In this endeavor, our populations are ahead of the states. This is evidenced by the enthusiasm generated daily by the Alliance of Sahel States among our youth and women. This popular momentum is the best guarantee of building a confederation of peoples and not a bureaucratic edifice. Dear fellow heads of state, our deliberations will undoubtedly lead to the adoption of the legal and institutional framework allowing the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States to take shape and identity. Our peoples have irrevocably turned their backs on ECOWAS. It is our duty today to make the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States an alternative to any fictitious regional grouping by building a sovereign community of peoples, a community free from the control of foreign powers, a community of peace, solidarity, and prosperity based on our African values. With senior officials and foreign ministers having finalized and adopted the draft treaty, it is with great pleasure that I solemnly agree to the creation of the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States. I also approve the draft internal regulations of the College of Heads of State of the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States. Niger, through my voice, commits to tirelessly working for the proper functioning of our Confederation. On this note of commitment and hope, I declare the first summit of the Heads of State of the Alliance of Sahel States open. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, Brigade General Abdourahmane Tiani, President of the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland, Head of State of the Republic of Niger, dear brother. Your Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, Head of State, dear brother. Ladies and gentlemen, ministers of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, ladies and gentlemen, senior officials, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and distinguished guests. At the beginning of my speech, I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude, as well as those of the delegation accompanying me, to Brigade General Abdourahmane Tiani, President of the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland, Head of State of the Republic of Niger, and to the Nigerian people for the warm welcome and kind attention we have received since our arrival on this hospitable land, on this A.S.S. land, so warm and so rich in its diversity. This hospitality reflects the fraternity and solidarity that unite our three nations. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on the 16th of September 2023, by signing the Liptako-Gourma Charter, we collectively made the courageous decision to create the Alliance of Sahel States, A.S.S. From the very first days following this historic event, the results were visible on the ground. Indeed, our alliance quickly translated the architecture of collective defense and mutual assistance into action to fight against terrorism in all its forms and against organized crime in our common space. I want to emphasize the notion of common space. To acknowledge the foresight of my brothers, Presidents Tiani and Traoré, who took the necessary measures to authorize the right of pursuit on their respective territories to effectively track down armed terrorist groups without constraints related to national border. The security dimension, at the origin of the creation of the A.S.S., is perfectly managed by our defense and security forces, who operate in total complementarity against any terrorist attack. Our forces are now in an offensive posture to neutralize these lawless groups. The commitment and determination of our men and women in combat command our pride, especially in light of the undeniable decline in insecurity in the area of the A.S.S. The best illustration of this security progress is the return of state entities, administrative entities, and populations to localities that for a long time, far too long, were occupied by armed terrorist groups and supported by their external sponsors. Thus, today, it is evident that fear has changed sides. As proof, we regularly witness acts of surrender by terrorist elements who lay down their arms before our national armies. The establishment of the Sahel States Joint Task Force in March 2024 symbolizes our unity of action and determination to protect our populations and preserve our sovereignty. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned earlier the rights of pursuit, which, during anti-terrorist operations, abolished the borders between our three states. And I would like to take this opportunity to address another essential aspect of our common alliance, that of the free movement of people and goods. Too often, the populations of our respective states have heard the principle of this free movement advocated without it being a lived reality. So much have administrative and road hassles distorted this ambition. Moreover, I know that with my brothers, Presidents Tiani and Traoré, we will soon no longer refer to the respective populations of our countries, but rather to our A.S.S. population. For the A.S.S. we are establishing is, above all, the A.S.S. of the peoples. An A.S.S. in which Burkinabés and Nigerians will feel at home in Mali and vice versa, without any form of bureaucratic barrier. This freedom of situation will be underpinned by accelerated investments in road, rail, and air infrastructure, and in new information and communication technologies, all of which will catalyze the deepening of investments in agricultural production and processing industries, thus benefiting from the complementarity of our economies. To achieve this reality, which is already under advanced construction, our ministers have spared no effort. Indeed, they have held 4 sectoral and expanded meetings in less than a year, which have laid the necessary foundations for an alliance of Sahel states of reinforced competence. The ministers in charge of the economy and finance have paved the way for coordination in the field of economic development by formulating pertinent recommendations in Bamako on the 25th of November 2023 for the harmonious development of the A.S.S. These have addressed aspects such as strengthening a common and harmonized framework for public policies in the fields of economy, finance, minerals, education, the environment, and culture, as well as the realization of joint structuring projects. The foreign ministers, meeting for the first time in Bamako on the 30th of November and the 1st of December 2023, agreed on diplomatic coordination and submitted for our consideration the recommendation to establish a confederation uniting the three states pending the establishment of a federation, bringing together Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Proactively, an expanded ministerial meeting was held in Ouagadougou on the 15th of February 2024 to develop preliminary drafts of documents related to the Confederation. The foreign ministers then finalized in Niamey on the 17th of May 2024 the draft texts establishing, organizing, and operating the A.S.S. as well as the preparatory documents for the present summit. I wanted to make this reminder, Your Excellencies, dear brothers, to extend our warm congratulations to our ministers and their technical teams for the work accomplished in such a short time, and especially for the quality of the documents they have submitted for our consideration. I particularly found it useful to salute the preservation of values dear to our hearts through the drafted texts, namely values of fraternity, solidarity, complementarity, but also and above all, the importance of placing and keeping the populations at the center of the Confederation's action. I also rejoice in the constructive spirit that prevailed during the various works. This spirit is precisely what invited us to formalize things during this summit, to meet the pressing expectation of our populations to live together, to live in peace, to live in communion, in harmony, in a stable and prosperous space. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, this first summit of the A.S.S. is an opportunity to reaffirm our solidarity and mutual support. I must not fail in this regard to reiterate our thanks to the sister Republic of Niger for its active solidarity in deciding to supply us with significant quantities of fuel. Your Excellency and dear brother Brigade General Abdourahmane Tiani, in this period of energy crisis, your gesture of fraternity beyond the symbol has a particular significance for Mali. It is now our responsibility to strengthen these strategic links between our three states to overcome together the challenges we face. To conclude, I would like to reiterate our firm determination to make the Alliance of Sahel States a model of regional cooperation, solidarity, and development. A model also of sub-regional integration, in accordance with the principles of the Liptako-Gourma Charter. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, today we honor in Niamey our date with history to revive, with our confederation, the spirit of unity desired by the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism. By assuming our share of responsibility and leadership in this exciting and indispensable endeavor for the Sahel region and beyond. Long live the Alliance of Sahel States. Long live the solidarity between the peoples. Thank you. comrades heads of state of the A.S.S., comrades members of the various A.S.S. governments, dear participants of the first summit of A.S.S. heads of state, good day. It is a great pleasure and an honor to be here today on this blessed and memorable date of the 6th of July, 2024, here in Niamey. First of all, let us thank God, who made this day possible. We thank Him for all He has done for us until today, and all He will do for the peoples of the A.S.S. Allow me also to pay tribute to the Nigerian people. This people who have suffered so much since the advent of the CNSP and who continue to stand tall. Thank you to the Nigerians who gave us a warm welcome yesterday when we set foot here on our homeland. You are more than friends, more than neighbors. You are our brothers and sisters. Because fraternity goes beyond friendship or neighborhood, we have the same blood running through our veins. In our veins flows the blood of those brave warriors who fought and preserved these lands we call Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. In our veins flows the blood of those brave warriors who helped the world rid itself of Nazism and many other plagues. In our veins flows the blood of those brave warriors who were deported from Africa to Europe, America, Asia, or elsewhere, and who helped build these states during slavery. In our veins flows the blood of dignified, robust men who stand tall, and for this, let us be proud and be thanked for being citizens of the A.S.S. Africa, this continent that has suffered so much and continues to suffer due to the imperialists. These imperialists have only one cliché in mind, that Africa is the empire of slaves. That's how they see Africa. For them, Africans belong to them. Our lands belong to them. Our underground belongs to them. They have never been able to change their mindset to this day. It's deplorable. But how do they proceed? Unfortunately, since the 1960s, when these semblances of independence were given to Africa, they have only placed local pawns at the head of what they consider their sub-prefecture to continue feeding them. These local pawns, whom we will call today house slaves, have no other reference points but to live like the master, to satisfy the master, and to do everything the master dictates. They steal, they loot our states to please the master, and their wealth is kept with the master. They do everything to live like the master and always to satisfy him. When the master commands, they execute. Do you know who these house slaves are? Well, let us explain what they are. They are individuals who have no dignity, no morals, no personality. But the slave master has always been able to identify these individuals. They are always ready to betray their brothers to satisfy the master. They have betrayed us since independence, and others continue to betray us to this day for their master. These individuals continue against all odds to plunder Africa, to help the master plunder Africa. They like to say it every year in their economic surveys. Burkina Faso is the poorest country. Mali is the poorest country. Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well, if we are as poor as they say. But when the time came to take our responsibilities, we asked these masters to leave. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for over 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy for themselves. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are lit up. There is light, but in Niger, it is darkness that is served to us. When you go to our states, our lands are full of holes, searching for precious metals like gold. But often there is not even the slightest accessible road to reach the areas where they exploit the gold, let alone some basic social services. That's why we decided to revolt and take the destiny of our countries into our own hands. There are many other examples, but when we decided so, well, we were approached by some house slaves to pass on the master's message to us, because they had created this kind of polymer chain which rises to the head of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain, and it is inconceivable for them. They approached us and asked us to fall in line, to be part of the elite that must lead Africa, because they have an elite formed and formatted to follow, who are embedded in this chain. We refused to fall in line, and since then, hostilities have started. They have infiltrated many mercenaries, trainers, and agents into our areas in the Sahel to hope to carry out barbaric, cowardly attacks against our populations, hoping to revolt them. In addition to these attacks on the ground, communication attacks, manipulation, and misinformation are in full swing in their rank. But the people of the Sahel have understood, and never again can they be manipulated. They know where they come from, they know what they are doing, and they know where they are going. We will no longer allow this. People are awake, and people are fighting today, not for ourselves, but for future generations. And thank you all for the fight being fought. This never makes us cry. We will not tremble. We will rise. We will fight for real independence, for our freedom. Because to scare the A.S.S. people, these individuals have only 3 words in their mouths: democracy, freedom, human rights. Of course, their local pawns are only elected in a free and transparent democratic process, according to them and their values. What is more normal? That they want to impose this on us because they set the rules. Very well. We have decided to take responsibility for ourselves. That's why, on the 26th of July 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the house slaves and their master, mounted on their high horses, put their local pawns forward, and decided to wage war against the Nigerian people. We said then, anyone who dares to attack Niger will face us, because we will wage a relentless war to the last drop of blood against anyone who dares to attack our states. This promise, this decision we made yesterday is relevant today and will be relevant tomorrow and always. Thus was born the A.S.S. on the 16th of September 2023 in a mutual defense architecture. But we deemed it necessary to extend and expand the A.S.S. architecture. What brings us together today should allow us to go to other fields in addition to defense, notably finance and the economy, infrastructure, health, education, and many more. I hope these moments will be for us a story that we will write for the A.S.S., but especially for Africa and for the whole world. May God enlighten each and every one of us. May God inspire us in the tasks entrusted to us. And especially that, when we do all our work, we have one thing in mind, the supreme interest of our populations. With that, we pray once again to God that He accompanies us all in our various tasks, that He protects our fighters, who, thanks to them, allow us to sit here and discuss the future of our states. Be thanked once again, Nigerian people. Be united and in solidarity, people of the A.S.S. Homeland or death, we shall prevail.
Summary of the final statement of the first summit of the heads of states of the Alliance of Sahel States. On the 6th of July 2024, the first summit of the Alliance of Sahel States or A.S.S. took place in Niamey, presided over by General Abdourahmane Tiani of Niger, with the attendance of Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and Colonel Assimi Goita of Mali. Under the theme, A Sovereign Space of Security and Prosperity, the leaders reviewed the geopolitical situation in West Africa, particularly focusing on security issues within the A.S.S. The summit marked a significant step towards the operationalization of the A.S.S. and further integration among Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. The leaders criticized ECOWAS for undermining regional solidarity through unjust sanctions and praised the resilience of their populations in lifting these sanctions. They announced an irrevocable withdrawal from ECOWAS, asserting the sovereignty of each A.S.S. member to pursue strategies for their people's welfare. The leaders highlighted their collective success in countering terrorism, notably celebrating the liberation of Kidal in Mali. They reaffirmed their commitment to eradicating terrorism and organized crime across the A.S.S., honoring the sacrifices of military and civilian victims. A key outcome was the adoption of the treaty establishing the Confederation of Sahel States, symbolizing a deeper integration between the three nations. They agreed on forming a unified military force to combat terrorism and other security threats. The summit also emphasized the importance of coordinated diplomatic efforts and the free movement of people and goods. They instructed ministers to develop urgent projects addressing the implications of the ECOWAS withdrawal. In terms of development, the leaders stressed the need to pool resources for strategic projects in agriculture, water, energy, trade, infrastructure, and telecommunications. They decided to focus on social cohesion, youth, education, employment, and health, proposing the creation of an A.S.S. investment bank and a stabilization fund. For communication, they called for an effective strategy using national languages and digital platforms to inform the public accurately. The leaders reviewed global political tensions and their economic impacts, endorsing the outcomes of previous ministerial meetings, and concluded the summit with a vision of unity and collective progress for the Sahel region.
Hanaf Echo, the African Perspective.